Welcome to Coaching for Leaders podcast. My name is Navjeet Grewal. I'm an executive coach. Joining me here is Sumantha. Sumantha is a team leader in IT sector.
Mm.
Hi, Sumantha.
Hi, Navjeet.
How are you today?
Doing good. Looking forward for the weekend, and yeah,
Had
it's always good.
good. Had a busy week?
Yeah, it was a busy week at work, and then yeah, so it's like then when we have a very busy week at work, and then we get the weekend, then it is more relaxing, and then we can enjoy the weekend.
Yeah.
When we do have that sense of achievement at work for that week, and then it's always a happy feeling.
Good.
Yeah.
So, in this conversation, continuing from our last conversation,
Yeah.
when we ended the last conversation, we decided to talk about more about personal development,
Yep.
and so we will be having conversation. We'll be exploring more on personal development, self-development, and
Yep.
how they are interlinked and how they are interdependent. You know.
Yep.
And so, to begin with, what has your experience been around personal development?
For me, it has always been like for the work related matters. We have this. We will have goals set for the entire year by the management, and then it works in both ways. Like when either the management sets it for us, or we set it for ourselves, and then get it approved by the management that we are in alignment with the organization and goals and stuff. But I think a key factor that I feel which is missing
Hmm.
is okay, we are doing work
Yeah.
which is required for the organization, but am I growing in during this year or during this tenure? Is the question, right? So it is that is where I think something that we lack. That okay, like we have the goals for the work, but do we have personal goals, or do
Hmm.
we have any? Do we set any objectives for our own self for self improvement for that year or for even for that month or so? So like, I think that is something that most of us in the corporate sector
Hmm.
lack. So it's basically again as we continue from our previous discussion, it is more mainly about survival,
Hmm.
and yeah, there is room for improvement, but we don't concentrate on the improvement factors at all.
So this is like hearing there's this aspect of professional development. So developing professionally, what is
Yes.
there? How can we grow into this role, or
Yeah.
how do we get
Yes.
promoted, or
Yeah. Yeah.
And to grow in your role, or to grow professionally,
Mm.
you basically need to sort of make improvements in
Yes.
your in your personal certain aspects of your life or certain aspects of your work. Uh,
Yes.
so to begin with, I would like to just let's try to understand what personal development is basically.
Yes. Yeah.
So personal development refers to broadly a process of working on improving certain aspects of your life, which would help you grow professionally as well as help you, progress in your personal life as well.
Yep.
And what it involves is it involves building on skills such as like communication skills or time management skills, or working on your habits or behavior. So those sort of aspects which will help you maintain your relationships in your personal life and professional life, and obviously help you to grow professionally as well. And so how you like if you think about it, like communication skills are so important, like extremely important to progress as to become a leader or
Yeah.
to be an effective leader.
Yeah.
But how well you work on your communication skills And that is what, you are working towards, building on those skills.
Yes.
And how do you achieve those personal develop? How do you progress in your personal? How do you develop personally? Is mainly on you set goals, personal development goals, as you were rightly saying. That
Yeah.
the management gives you these goals, and you have to achieve. And what you sort of have a vision about yourself of how do you want to grow professionally. On basis of that, some people read these personal development books, or like
Yes.
they talk to other people, their mentors, and they say, oh, you need this, and that's how you say, oh, I need to work on that, I need to work on my personal development, I need to strengthen my communication skills, or I need to work on my time management, or I need to improve upon my certain behavior, like and mostly, like my clients as well who come to coaching are working on their personal development.
Wow.
And one of the YouTube, videos by Brian Tracy, Seven Essential Pillars of Personal Development, gives a very comprehensive view of, the kind of personal development one should sort of aim for, or one can, look into, just to give you a guide about. Um,
Yes.
so it's that kind of a thing, when we listen to, when we read these self-help books,
Yeah.
leadership books, you have to improve on this, you should work on this, and you to become an effective leader. And I guess most of us are into it, isn't it?
No, that is true. And then yes, we do have the sources, and then we do have the books, and then everything around us. We
Yeah.
know. Yes, I think we would. I think one thing that we would all lack in doing individually, and that is where interaction with people like you will come in handy, is identifying our own strengths and weaknesses,
Hmm.
and then like doing a SWOT analysis on a product or a software is easier
Yeah.
than doing it on self, right? So it's like
Yeah.
there, I think, yeah. So there, I think for people like us in the corporate industry, I think that this is where you play a key role. That when we approach you, I think you would help us determine our strengths and weaknesses, and then chalk out a personal development plan accordingly, right? So it's for us in the corporate industry, it's like these skills are termed as soft skills.
Hmm.
I have seen this drastic change. Like it happened over a period of time, like in the past 20 years.
Yeah.
That 20, I think 20 years ago, it was like people were stressing on personal development as well, but and
Hmm.
then there was equal emphasis given on soft skills, and then the career-oriented skills. But now, slowly, as time progressed, and then it became more competitive. Now, okay, we have soft skill training somewhere recorded somewhere, and then we can attend.
Yeah.
But then, like even if I register, then it would be like sometimes the management might say that, yeah, this is good to attend, but I think this is not of priority right now. So this is what would happen.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. So, see, this is what it is, like personal development. Okay, for this role, so you identify your
yeah,
personal development, a goal. You set a goal that, oh, I need to work on this, to
yes,
perform my role effectively. And you either through management or through feedback, or through personal reviews, you've got this information, and you have set this goal, and you start working on it. But then this is what happens, so many people, they struggle to achieve these personal development goals. I mean, these are very, very essential for one to progress in their career, in their role, especially to become an effective leader. We will talk more about it later on.
Yeah.
But what happens, as you were saying, like either it's your environment, which your bosses, or there are other priorities, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, and you have set these goals, but the other priorities take over.
Yeah.
Or then you start doing it, but the meaning you make of these personal developments, like how the understanding you have. Okay, you want to build on your communication skills. You want
Yeah.
to start, as a leader, you've been told you need to delegate uh, to your direct reportees or your team members. But how do you understand delegation? And so it could be your belief, your own conditioning, which I've seen, like it comes, like your conditioning, your cultural conditioning and everything. It
Yeah.
just creates those barriers, as I may say, working towards personal development, because it needs a lot of commitment. It, for one, it needs a lot of commitment, and then it basically needs that kind of an environment that you need to prioritize and to work towards it, to achieve those goals which you have set in the first place, if you have set
Yeah.
those goals, you
Yeah.
know and also if you're working with a coach, if you have a right kind of a coach who can sort of help you, support you, create that kind of a space for you, hold you accountable. But in my experience, so many people struggle. Some people just say, oh, I will have that discipline. Um, if I have to do the time management, I will have that discipline and I
Yeah.
will do it.
Yes. Yeah.
For some, it works, but not for everyone. Everyone has their own ways of, performing their tasks and, their daily routines and the priorities they have. And so this is where you have to basically have these limitations really make you feel that, okay, I need this
Yeah.
for my professionally developing, or even to become confident in your role.
Yeah.
So if you feel that you have to work on communication skills to become confident in your role,
Yeah.
and you set this goal, but you are not able to work on those communication skills because something or the other happens. Your either your environment is not supporting you, or your inner self-belief, or your cultural conditioning, or your assumptions or beliefs. It's like it's not supporting you. You are trying, but it's
Yeah.
not working. So
Yes.
what it actually needs then is working with self then. It's
Uh,
that self is something which is really needs to look into. And so
yeah.
self-development is something, working on self helps people work on their personal development goals. So very important to work on
Yes.
self to achieve these personal development goals.
Yes.
As you were saying, like, okay, working on your strengths, working on your weaknesses. There's so many, there's various factors which one needs to work on to build that resilience, to be that committed to achieve those personal development goals. So, personal development, if we try to understand, involves, you must have heard about it, like introspection,
Yes. Yeah.
self-observation,
Yes.
self-awareness. We
Yes.
talk about these terms, we come across
Exactly.
these terms.
Yes. Yes.
So, and we all think we know a bit of it. We
Yes.
are self-aware, but
Yeah.
there are so many layers to it, like what has your experience been around, these sort of topics?
Yeah, I think it is. I think, as you mentioned, I think it's always good to do one round of introspection, like at a regular interval, that to know where we stand, to know what we are doing good, what we are doing bad, and then realize, okay, something is required. So it is good.
Hmm.
Just sometimes we'd also know. what is required. But I don't think some like most of the times we don't take that step to make it right. It is, I think that is what is lacking mainly.
Hmm.
So that is one thing. And then while you're talking, there were like two things running on my mind. So it's like I have had colleagues. This communication is a classic example, right? So it's
Uh-huh.
like I've had colleagues who have had problems with communication, but they were really good at work. But it's like they cannot express what they go through, or they cannot
Hmm.
express. And then it's like even though they are working a lot, they're putting in a lot of effort. Somehow in this competitive world again, nobody notices their effort because they are not expressive about themselves, and so
Mm.
they are not
Mm.
putting in the right content. And then there are also people whom I have seen that okay, they know their communication is bad. At least they would have installed some third party apps which would correct their grammar while they in fact chat also on the communication channels in the company. So even in those times, okay, they would do that, but while probably their oral communication would be a problem. But yeah, and here it's also a sensitive topic. Like one if they do an introspection, that is good. But as a leader, when I observe, okay, this person needs something.
Hmm.
Skill development. So in that case, how do you think that we should handle it? Like it can be a case wherein like when I go to a person and say that okay, like you need to improve on your communication skill,
Yeah.
but again that person might be egoistic, or that person might have a problem in accepting things, and then so there it can be a tricky situation as a leader wherein where even if we identify that there's a skill gap that is required for their personal improvement, but then conveying this to that person is also at times can be hard. So
Yeah. That sort of becomes a difficult thing
yes,
for you yourself, you know,
yeah,
how to convey that. And I guess now for you, the personal development goal would become as how to convey, how to communicate this
okay, yeah, yeah,
to
right,
my these people who are working for me
yeah,
or who are in my team, you know. And and for your team members as well. So if they need to improve on their communication skills. So one of the factors which I feel is like it's you know you need to work on, but sometimes it doesn't align with your personality type or your doesn't align with your temperament, you know. And
yeah,
so working through, so this is where we were going into because you know your personal development. This is what your personal development needs to be. You know, this is what your goal. Um, this is what you would like to work on, basically. But this the self development is mainly working on yourself to check whether you know how does it align with your goal, how does it, you know, how can you work in your own way so that you feel more confident about achieving this goal. So because if you have in your mind, okay, I need to work on communication skills, you've read a book, you've listened to a podcast, okay, somebody has told you, okay, do this 1, 2, and 3 and 4, and once you start practicing that, you feel, oh, I can't do it because I don't feel very comfortable with it.
yeah,
And you know, so either it doesn't align with your way of doing things, you know, like we was talking about, you know, introverts don't like going and express themselves,
yeah,
and whereas extroverts it will be so easy for them, you know, like, okay, I
yeah,
need to work
exactly.
on that.
Yeah,
If I need to go and talk to these people, and if I need to read out a script, no issues at all. But
yeah,
for an introvert, they have to look into how they can actually, you know, go and work on it. So this is
yeah,
where if they are working with a coach, um, and they are working with the right kind of a coach, and the coach can help them sort of look into themselves, again, that introspection, the reflection, and raising that self-awareness, the what is actually you know limiting their efforts, what is basically limiting their efforts to achieve this goal.
yeah,
And you can like make a plan accordingly, and then you basically go and you start approaching this situation in your own way, you know
yeah. Okay,
and
yeah,
that is the kind of a thing. And then there is this like sort of like cultural conditioning as well, like when if you have been conditioned in a family that your family is such that you that's how you've grown, like your
yeah,
upbringing has been like that. So
yeah,
sometimes that deconditioning is needed. And
yeah,
so it is sort of working on those various levels where and what I always say is like it's some of this conditioning which is just you just need to decondition yourself, like just knowing what is keeping you down, knowing what is limiting you, like so this is how when I work or some of the coaches work with the clients, they create that space, they raise those questions, and they
yes,
help them become self-aware or observe themselves, um, and notice, like what triggers them, what makes them uncomfortable, their emotional, like understanding their emotions basically. So, so it's just a lot of, that self-development basically is, as I was saying, it's multi-layered, it's like, it's not just one thing, and it's an ongoing process. More you understand yourself, more you understand
yes,
your process, you understand your emotions, you understand your conditioning, you understand your environment. Now suppose your environment, as you were saying, that you your environment doesn't let you focus or prioritize your um, like
yeah,
the
yeah.
personal
The self,
development goals.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
So, and then trying to understand, like, what are your triggers basically, and what are your sort of, issues and stresses, your fears of your
yeah,
environment. So, self-development focuses on improving your it helps you work on your resilience, build your resilience, and builds
yeah,
your inner strength so that you can face that environment and you can work accordingly. And
yes,
it's an ongoing work. So coming back to your finding uh, that difficulty of approaching uh,
yeah.
this your
Striking a
teammate.
balance.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
that is, yeah, as you
yeah.
mentioned, probably that would be a skill that I would want to work on, or anybody, any leader would want to work on, probably conveying in the right way to the team members. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, and then probably I don't know if you want to just put it under the bracket of self-development. I think one of the major challenges that we see,
Mm-hmm.
or the common challenge that we see in the people today is procrastination.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because when you're talking about having books to study to overcome these challenges, like I can relate myself. Like I've bought this Atomic Habits book quite some time ago,
Uh-huh.
but I have not gone through the book at all. Like I could not, I did not go beyond the second page of that. So it's like, so that I think might be a topic in itself. That I think this is something that Personally, even me, and then I know a lot of people around me also who would want to understand more about how to deal with procrastination and how to make things right or that, and then so
Yeah.
we can also
Yeah.
discuss in our future topics one day
I think,
about this
yeah,
as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
we
Mm.
that will be excellent topic for the next session.